Let's say two major companies are competing for a strong position in the market. If they cooperate, both will win in the long run. However, if one lowers its prices to outcompete the other, the rival must respond in the same way, ultimately causing both to suffer losses. But could this situation apply not only to companies but also to individuals and even nations? Welcome to Atlas Economy. In today's video, we're diving into one of the most fascinating concepts in game theory and its impact on economics: the prisoner's dilemma. This thought experiment reveals how individuals and businesses make decisions when trust is uncertain and self-interest dominates. The implications of the prisoner's dilemma stretch far beyond hypothetical scenarios. They shape real-world economic policies, corporate strategies, and global markets. Let's explore how trust, or the lack of it, affects economic interactions. What is the prisoner's dilemma? The prisoner's dilemma is a classic problem in game theory, first formulated by mathematicians Merrill Flood and Melvin Drescher in the 1950s. It describes a situation where two rational individuals might not cooperate, even if it seems in their best interest to do so. The classic example: imagine two criminals are arrested and interrogated separately. The authorities offer both the same deal. If both betray each other, they each receive 5 years in prison. If one betrays while the other remains silent, the betrayer is freed, while the silent one gets 10 years. If both stay silent, they each serve 1 year. Logically, the best collective outcome is for both to remain silent. However, due to self-interest and lack of trust, both often betray, leading to a worse outcome for both. The prisoner's dilemma in economics. The principles of the prisoner's dilemma apply to various economic scenarios, where individual incentives lead to suboptimal outcomes for the group. Here are some key areas where it plays a role. 1. Price wars in business. Companies often face a dilemma regarding pricing. If two competing firms both keep their prices high, they enjoy healthy profits. However, if one lowers its prices to attract more customers, the other might feel compelled to do the same, leading to a race to the bottom, reducing profits for both. Second, international trade and tariffs. Countries benefit from free trade, yet they may impose tariffs to protect local industries. If both nations impose tariffs, global trade slows down, harming both economies. But if one country removes tariffs while the other keeps them, the free trading nation suffers an economic disadvantage. 3. Tax compliance and public goods. Governments rely on tax revenue to provide public services like infrastructure and healthcare. If everyone pays taxes, society benefits. However, individuals might try to evade taxes, assuming others will contribute. When tax evasion becomes widespread, public services deteriorate, hurting everyone. 4. Bank runs and financial crises. A stable banking system depends on trust. If people trust banks, they keep their money deposited, ensuring smooth operations. However, if panic spreads and people withdraw all their money at once, banks collapse, creating a financial crisis. Even those who initially trusted the system suffer the consequences. The role of trust in economic stability. The prisoner's dilemma shows that trust is a fundamental pillar of economic stability. When individuals, businesses, or nations trust each other, they can achieve better outcomes. Here's how trust mitigates economic dilemmas. Long-term relationships encourage cooperation. Businesses with repeated interactions avoid destructive competition. Regulations and enforcement create stability. Governments set rules to prevent market failures. Transparency builds confidence. Open communication reduces uncertainty in trade and finance. The prisoner's dilemma highlights the tension between individual self-interest and collective well-being. In economics, this manifests in trade, business competition, taxation, and financial markets. Trust is the key factor that determines whether economies thrive or suffer from inefficiencies. If you enjoyed this deep dive into game theory and economics, subscribe to Atlas Economy for more insightful content on finance, global markets, and economic strategies. See you in the next video.